oh, I know this is a good friendship and relationship and partnership friendship with a woman, that I feel like she's a safe person. And I feel like that's ultimately what a girl's girl is a woman that is safe, a woman that's not gonna go and like low key tell somebody else about my business, or is like their response is rooted in misogyny, or is gonna ultimately think that my behavior is also rooted in misogyny.
Thanks for your concern.
Hello, welcome back to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Berenice.
And I'm Ella. Hello, Berenice. How are you?
Actually, I just woke up from like a 2.5 hour nap that I accidentally fell upon. And then, when you're like dehydrated, so you wake up cranky, I can't pretend that that didn't just happen.
Sometimes we just got to take a nap. You're the nap queen. I mean this in like the best way possible. I feel like my anxiety doesn't let me rest without such a rigorous cool down. And so the fact that you can just like go to sleep, like you've trained your body to do that so you get more rest and you can maximize on free time is beautiful.
Sometimes I think it came from literally just exhaustion. In a sewing major, you get like final thesis, which is like collections, and I don't like, now looking back, I must have been so bad at sewing because I don't know how it took me so long to make 7 pairs of clothing in an entire semester. But whatever, story for another time. Yeah, so that's where I learned that, which I don't know if that's the best habit, to be like, I slept for hours and then I took like a little hour nappy, because you never make it to like your REM cycle, which is really important. But yeah, I can hit a nap anywhere. I watch my ASMR like scratching lady videos. My dream is to go to Miami and get scratched by my ladies. I call them. I'm like, I have to watch my ladies and I'm gonna knock out right now. Cured my insomnia.
Dude, you know who's really obsessed with ASMR too? Cardi B.
It's interesting because I just had never been into ASMR until I found this specific type of ASMR. So I think everybody has a niche, and you just have to find it.
See, I feel like I was an OG. Well, I don't know if it's ASMR per se, but like an OG NPR, RIP. No, I'm just joking. But like NPR, the broadcasters that they had on in the early 2000s had a very the Irish
So
glass,
soothing.
melancholy,
Yeah.
soothing voice. And I would fall asleep to NPR. I mean, almost to this day, I still do. So I don't know. Is that just scratching a little itch? I think so.
Probably. It's probably the tune, the sound of how they deliver daily news. It's like they ended up at NPR because they wanted to do something else, but I'm just kidding.
Oh, I love them.
Did you watch the Cardi B interview in Call Her Daddy?
No.
You should. It's a good one.
I mean, I think she's literally hysterical. My dog's name is Cardi. I'm obviously a huge Cardi B fan. I tried to buy her tickets, and I'm gonna be really honest, they were too expensive. Okay, I mean, charge what you want to charge, but I'm not paying more than Beyonce and Taylor Swift prices for fucking anyone. Okay, like I love that girl down, but the nosebleed seats were over $200, and to me, in a big ass stadium, I think that's too much.
To be honest, I'm not a big like stadium concert girly. Even Madison Square Garden, I've only gone when it's been like sponsored. Like somebody gives me a ticket and I'm like, wow, these are amazing seats, or like floor seats. I'm like, how did we acquire this? I didn't acquire anything. Like they did put in all the work. Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I need to be close. But there are some artists that even in the nosebleeds, you still at least get the vibe. Yeah, but I do recommend her interview. I think she's doing really good PR for her album. So watch that, and then we can chat about it.
Okay,
when
we
you
will
do.
next week.
Yeah, in other world news, relevant news, Bad Bunny, swearing like he was like, I'm not gonna be in America this year. Like, fuck that. I'm not performing there. I can't be bought. But then he's like, I can be bought. Super Bowl, here I come.
I think it's a great opportunity.
Oh, 100%. Imagine how much money that was offered.
Yeah, and honestly,
I
think he's gonna use his platform well.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the artistry that is his Super Bowl performance. I'm psyched about it. Represent, baby.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the show. I'm excited to see who he brings out. I'm excited to see what he will say without saying. Because I was a
Mhm.
really big fan of Kendrick Lamar's performance. So,
Me too.
we love messages and messages.
It's interesting because I think about the line that he dropped on the Super Bowl is like, "The revolution is televised," or "You picked the right time but the wrong guy." And I just kind of like am thinking about that like continuously. I don't know if you've heard about the Saudi Arabia comedy festival.
No.
Oh, girl. Okay, so
Catch me up
this is
on world news.
so essentially the what's going on in Saudi Arabia is that they have a regime that is
Mhm.
literally like murder I guess a lot of people are disappearing without explanation, and it is really clearly that whenever someone speaks out against the Saudi Arabian government, people are like disappearing, right?
Okay.
And then at one point someone like spoke out against the regime of Saudi Arabia, and now they're all in prison, right? Well, now all of these comedians who are talking about cancel culture comics, all got paid an exorbitant amount of money to put on this comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, and the World like Peace Organization or like the United Nations has basically said like do not go there because it's like whitewashing what is going on. Like it is a very calculated effort by the Saudi Arabian government to kind of cover up the human rights atrocities that are going on. Like, oh my god, like don't look over here, look at this comedy festival. Don't look over here, look at this sports festival. And it's just very interesting that all these comedians who have been talking about cancel culture, you can't say this, you can't say that, are signing up to go someplace where they're not allowed to quite like they're not allowed to bring up what's going on, right? Like it's not like they had a laundry list of rules of like here's $500,000, but this is what you can't talk about.
Oh, it's not people from Saudi Arabia, it's from everywhere?
Oh no, it's like American comics that the government of Saudi Arabia is putting on a festival.
Okay.
And like it's literally like
I
if the
see.
Trump administration put on a festival and brought people in, okay? And so the government is paying American comedians who've been complaining about being canceled, but they gave them a whole list of things that they can't talk about. And these
Yeah.
people are just taking the money. It's like, see, I've been saying that you guys are being disingenuous when you say you can't say anything because you guys
Yeah.
all are making millions of dollars on your podcast. But it made my little heart just kind of break because it's some of the people that I say that I have really looked up to in my life are going, and I'm just like, yeah, this makes me sad. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like I have not idolized Dave Chappelle in a while because of his stance on the LGBTQ community. I think it's so outdated and fucking whack. So I haven't been a fan for a while, but pre when he's been on this kind of weird rant, like everything before he dropped off the face of the world and went to Africa, I'm a huge fan of, if I'm being honest. He's going, and I'm like, damn, that hurts me. That just hurts my little soul.
Interesting. I had not heard this world news. I think it's interesting to like get people's takes on like what they do things. Can't fathom that they haven't thought about that. I think we talk about like weaponized like incompetence, being like, I didn't know. I didn't think about that. So I am curious to see how they will respond.
Some people are basically saying that it was just such good money that they don't give a fuck. And to me, I'm like, that's what that's what Chris Stefano said. He basically said that he like didn't want to do it because of the moral implication, but that it was just too good of money, so he's doing it. And
Damn.
soul be damned. And I just like I'm like,
And that's what's wrong with the world.
which is actually what I think is wrong with the world, right? Is
Yeah.
that like
All goes by to goddamn capitalism. No, I mean, and I think that's like a bigger thing. And like, obviously, it's capitalism, but like the value of money, even though money is like arbitrary because like you don't take it with you when you die.
it's really interesting to at least from my point of view, and these are my own personal thoughts. I feel like I don't think that I'm like holier than thou, right? But there's people that have less options, right? Like there's people who that would be life-changing money for. Like literally it would be the difference between their family getting out of poverty and whatever. But these are like that's not that group of people, right? None of these people are facing like poverty in America, right? They're not facing the financial pressure of what is being an average American. So it's like if an average American took that money, I don't think I would be that judge. I don't think I would judge in the same way that I judge people who already have power and privilege who are taking the money.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's great. There's a TV show that they did like the American version on Netflix. It's called Inside Sideman, and it's giving like a version of like Mr. Beast, and Squid Games of like they have different challenges and they start with a certain amount of money, but it's all kind of like reality TV influencers or like famous people in it that
Mhm.
some may not necessarily like need the money, and like we watch them kind of like spend things and do things out of like hee
Mm.
hee ha ha's type of thing. And I was like, wow, this is really the ultimate game of greed. And it's really sad to see what like people are like willing to do for some bucks.
I've actually had this thought where I'm just like, sometimes I feel like people pile on to, I wouldn't even say influencers. Like, have you ever seen a fucking video? Someone be like, this is unethical. Like, you shouldn't, like, someone's talking about how they get through depression and they're like, you shouldn't use single use plastic. And it's like, oh my God, bitch, can we not pile on to this girl who's going through a depressive episode right now?
She was institutionalized yesterday. Like, maybe let's just cut her a break for using that straw.
Have you seen that though? Is that just
No,
me?
I
Or
have
maybe that's
not
just how
seen
I
that.
feel like I feel like comments like cuz it's like everyone says like once you post it's you're open to criticism, but sometimes I'm like can we relax sometimes? Like let's like I feel like some people who aren't influencers and they like accidentally post something not knowing like there's a difference between trying to educate someone and being like you fucking suck. I cannot believe that you did this.
Yeah,
It's like a call in versus a call out.
it's just an interesting thing of any sort of platform that it's like if you have it, you're essentially opening yourself to criticism when in reality a lot of people behind closed doors or behind not a camera do very similar things. They're just not being televised. But it is October when this comes out, I believe, and
Woo!
we
Time
wanted
flies.
to, yeah, I love spooky season. I feel it
Me
in my
too.
bones.
I went to a coffee shop and I was like, okay, I'll have like a lavender latte. And he was like, hey, so you just so you know, we have pumpkin spice. And I was like, give it to me, baby. Give me the pumpkin spice. And I was like, yes, it's pumpkin spice season. So let's get into this spooky episode.
Let's get it.
Okay, spooky season. So we're talking about our favorite spooky characters, our favorite spooky witches and wizards,
Villains per
villains.
se. Yeah, I think there's some
Mm.
underrated ones. Here's the thing. Anything can be like spooky horror in the eye of the beholder. Okay, have you ever watched the TV show? It's on Prime. It's called Sherry. Or no, it's called The Girlfriend. And there's two characters. One is the mom of this man and he's a mama's boy. And then the girlfriend, her name is Sherry. And it basically goes through kind of like certain actions, and then they do the side of the mom, like the interpretation of Sherry's actions through the mom, and then Sherry's actions through Sherry. Is Sherry a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a psychopath? Yes. Okay. But when you look at it through her lens, it's not like as intense. And when you look at it as the mom, when she already comes in kind of with like a bias, like a hatred for this girl, because she's like trying to protect her son as like this really big, like like mama's boy character.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that Sherry does looks villainous. And I feel like that about some characters. You know, I love when we get like the villain story, like the origin story of Maleficent per
I
se,
love a
you know?
Maleficent. A Maleficent. That's a hard one for me to pronounce. Maleficent is how we say it.
Maleficent.
Dude, you guys should go watch that. That's one of my favorite spin-off movies. Like honestly, like no hate. I literally hate the live action remakes of things. I just think that they're so ugh. I was like, come on, like how many times are we gonna rinse this? But then when we do like a spin-off, like a Maleficent spin-off, and it's like a new story, but it has old characters, I find that so interesting because it's like, dang, it's really interesting how we have like the classic Sleeping Beauty story and she looks like a villain, but then when you get the backstory, you're like, okay, I kind of get it.
Listen, Angelina Jolie could spit in a cup and I'd be like, art, genius. But aside from that, Maleficent does hate men, you know, and that's kind of like the end all be all for her. It's like her hatred for men has actually led her to do some not so feminist things. But I do relate with Maleficent, and I think we should give her like a little bit more credit. I like her follow up on that, where she's like, I have decided to become a feminist towards the end of this journey in her villain origin story, live action, but still holds her hatred for men. And I think as I've gotten older, I have unsubscribed from like wanting to be liked by men, and I think it has really changed my life. It has allowed me to see things very differently because ultimately she's just like she's someone who grew up like a little bit of a pygmy, and I feel like this is like can relate to a lot of people, you know what I mean? And then her frontal lobe fully developed when this man betrayed her.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so happy I don't really care. I don't really want to be liked by men anymore. It makes your life. I feel like I'm living more authentically. I feel like Pick Me show was like not authentic to my core.
Right? And who was Sleeping Beauty made by? A man.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly.
you see?
Okay, do you know a villain that I was thinking, I was like, what villain do I kind of like? I'm like, you know what? I actually think she kind of cooked. Do you remember the fairy godmother from Shrek 2?
Yeah. She's
Okay,
great.
she's great. Okay, so she's like plotting and scheming. We love that. She's plotting and scheming. She's being a good mom, but she was like a corporate baddie, you know? Like we love a booked and busy CEO who started from nothing and built like, built by fairy godmother. And like, yeah, she was evil. She was kind of menacing. She did do some plotting and scheming, but I kind of vibe with a girl boss like that, you know?
Yeah. It was
If she was a
giving
man, she wouldn't have even gotten any of that slack, I swear.
period.
I'm telling you, male CEOs literally get away with fucking murder, and then women CEOs are like, "Oh, she was plotting, she was scheming." It's like, well, sure, but like, how do you get to the top without plotting and scheming? Riddle me
Yeah.
that.
I know. There was like a time at an ex workplace where they're like, we just want you to be more apologetic when you make like a mistake, right? Because I'm always like moving forward, I won't do that type of thing rather than like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. If I'm telling you I'm so sorry, is because I want to look good. Because I know like that's the reaction people are expecting from a woman is to be super apologetic if I like do something wrong. But I'm like, okay, thank you for pointing it out. Moving forward, I will try to get this right, you know, like noted. Thank you for calling me out. And I also learned that from another job that we just like thank for call outs rather than like profusely apologizing. And when
Yeah.
I got that feedback, I was like, has this feedback ever been given to a man? There's no way. Because I've never in my corporate career heard a man apologize for any sort of mistake they made.
I'm gonna be like, this might be like a controversial take or whatever, but I swear to God, there has been a little bit of healing done by me by being surrounded by like men in the workplace and being like, no, because I just feel like I think I was putting a lot of like unneeded stress onto myself. And then when you work with dudes who are great at their job, you realize like, yeah, I really don't have to apologize. Like if it's sometimes like you have to say like, yeah, thank you for that feedback, or like I'm gonna go forward. I'll have an action plan for next time. But like, they're not sitting here like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's like, no, they're just like they move on to the next thing. And it's like you don't have to apologize to be great at your job. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think a man would ever be asked that.
Yeah, it felt performative to be asked to do that. I'm like, okay, but I'm not like that.
Also, that's fucking weird as fuck. To ask someone to
Yeah,
be more apologetic, that's super weird in a workplace setting.
the thing it was a mainly like women work setting, but all like the
Yeah.
people in higher positions were men, which is really like telling of the operation. Okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was a real letdown when I was like, all right, half of this thing is cool. Like there are certain teams that I really digged, but there were some that I was like, oh, you know that the expectations were set here and everybody followed. But you got to be the change you want to see in the world. So I quit.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, thanks. I'm not you should be more apologetic. No, 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 that's not good feedback, so I'm happy that you're bye.
Another misunderstood baddie. This might be a hot take, but I feel like Carrie was a little bit justified in the feeling that emoted her killing spree. Okay?
Okay. Word. I
in
thought you meant
in
Carrie Bradshaw, and I was like, I
no,
hate Carrie. No, just joking.
in only the
Yeah.
world that she lives in is a witch. Okay, this I don't want this to be taken out of context because I obviously don't believe like violence is the answer for anything. But like, what a female rage moment, you know? What a little queen excellence there, where I just don't. When you get put down again and again and again by a certain group of people and you feel like there's no power in that, I feel like there's vile people. I didn't think that before, but I have seen some people navigate where I'm like, why are you acting like that? And sometimes I'm like, yes, there was a little bit of an overreaction coming from over there, but like, are we gonna be accountable that we have maybe provoked the bear? Yeah.
Okay, so like another one where I'm like, oh, killing wasn't the answer, but I get it. Megan's Body, bro. I still fucking love that movie. That was such a
Oh
good
yeah,
movie. And
yeah.
also, like, it was so misunderstood. And like, dude, I bow down to Megan Fox. I'm obsessed with her. Like, I think she's gorgeous and talented and over sexualized, all those things. But I loved Megan's Body Down, and like everyone, you should go see it. It's like a spooky, campy film, and it's everything. But it's really interesting how the movie was mismarketed and misunderstood,
Yeah.
and then it's like, dang, like it's kind of like the movie. It's just ironic in a way, that it's like this movie about a woman kind of being over sexualized and thus consuming people who are sexualizing her. And then the movie was by the film studio, they're like, "Oh, let's like portray it in this light so it gets ass in seats," but it didn't get ass in seats, and the ass that did get in the seats didn't like it because they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
It was targeted to the wrong audience, therefore they were confused. And then everybody was kind of confused because, one person wanted. I think this is just really telling about how things work when it's not your money. You can have the intention to do something, but when it's backed up financially by something else, there might be a little bit of a riptide there, and
Mhm.
maybe that's the villainous act. But yes, that is a really good film. I think we did an episode a really long time ago about this that you should definitely go check out. I swear to God, it was like one or two. Let me tell you, she was justified. She gets like sexually assaulted in the film pretty early on, and then like sacrificed, I guess. And then she goes on to kill a bunch of men. I get it. I understand that plot line pretty evidently. You know what I mean? I also feel like Megan Fox is misunderstood. There's so many like people made villains by the media that it's really interesting to see where your eye goes to. And I think sneakily the media also makes you become like not a girl's girl because women are like so scrutinized by the media that before you know it, you are retelling what the media is telling you out loud. Another place story is that I was sitting in one of like our vendor meetings and they were all criticizing Ariana Grande's body. And I was like,
That's
in a room
insane.
full of women. And yeah, right? So, and the thing is, like, the same comment was carried over in different vendor meetings. And obviously, like, this is where I work. So, like, I can't fucking say shit, like, shut up. But I just, like, was not participating in the conversation. But I was like, it's crazy how, like, literally some TikToks can, like, talk about her in a way where they can, like, comment on her weight and what she's eating and whatever. And the women here feel like they can do the same and they're repeating the exact same thing that they're being.
Maybe other people will relate to this, but sometimes I see women getting scrutinized, and I think about this with like Kim Kardashian, for instance. I feel like there are criticisms that you could make about her, but I feel like the criticisms that people make are like the wrong ones. Is that just me?
No, it's true. There's depends.
Like,
Some people like have really seen past like there's you could tell when there's critical thinking and there's just hate to hate because it's like I don't think you've
yeah,
looked enough into this woman to so what you're saying is kind of weird. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I just sometimes I'm like, or like, you'll see like, oh, like, she's not that, oh, she all she did was do, they talk about her sex tape or whatever. It's like they criticize her about their sex tape. And I'm like, I don't know why the fuck you guys keep on bringing this up. Like, it's like not even relevant, you know? It's like, why are we talking about her sex tape or like her ass is fake? Who cares? Like, I mean, like, sure, there's like things to say there, but it's like, I was like, you guys, maybe you're like kind of onto something, but you're missing it. And I feel like so often with women, they criticize and they make such low blows. And it's like, maybe that this woman maybe this woman like deserves some valid criticisms, but like now everyone's defending her because you're only talking about her body or you're only talking about who she slept with. It's like, don't make me defend this woman. I don't really want to defend the Kardashians, but it is fucking evil that you guys rip into how many times she's been married.
But I know a lot of men that have been married multiples of times.
And it's like the thing is like right now people are talking about how like Cardi B's having a baby with Stefan Diggs and how she has like basically two babies daddies. And I'm like, wait. Hold up. No. Like let's stop that. Like I'm just saying like because people what are you talking about? There's like I can talk about like 10 men in Hollywood who actually there's millions of men that have babies with two different women.
Doesn't Nick Cannon have like a lot of
Yeah.
children
He
with
is
a
getting
lot
some
of
he
women?
he's getting some well-deserved flack for that, and recently in an interview, he said something he was on, like maybe he was on The Breakfast Club, and he was like, "Yeah, you know, if I'd thought about it, maybe I would've realized that I was making children from trauma," and I was like,
Right.
"Right." I was like, "Okay." I was like, Jesus Christ. So he did get his criticism, he did get his flack, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I that people like to villainize the wrong thing in the media, and it drives me nutters. And that's all anyone can talk about. It's all anyone can talk about. I'm like, let's get out of this. Why is this news?
Yeah, I don't think I'm out here criticizing honestly anybody's actions. I'm big on like the pursuit of happiness. Truly, it's written in the Constitution of USA. I believe the only place where I like come into maybe some critical thinking is like how kind of we were talking about like the South Arabia comedy thing. Like I think that's when I come like, then do I really fuck with this person? Those actions be kind of muggy. It's important to also not idolize people. It helps with the letdown that they're human beings. But another character that I believe, honestly, I really liked the Coven season of American Horror Story. I think almost all of those characters are like as a
I'm gonna have to watch
witch
that.
plot. Yeah, get there. There's a lot of good witch shows. There's a lot of like great witch characters.
Yeah, so Ryan Murphy
It's for the
created
girls. It's for
Oh no,
the
so Ryan Murphy created American Horror Story. I have not watched American Horror Story because I'm like still entranced and traumatized by Glee, which is also Ryan Murphy. So I feel like I was like, I can't get into another like Ryan Murphy chokehold. So I've avoided American Horror Story.
You know what? Glee was off the fucking rails, but it was entertaining. And there were some really talented people on that show.
Okay, let me tell you something. That show was crazy, yo. Like, I'm telling you, they said some shit, like, it's so beyond inappropriate. Like, when I watch something with my cousin and he's like shocked about how inappropriate something is, I know it's bad, you know, because I'm a social justice warrior. My little antenna goes off at like even a dog whistle, you know what I'm saying? But someone who isn't that tapped in is like, "Oh my god, I cannot believe they said that." It's bad.
I was like, it's Glee. Yeah.
It's Glee.
Yeah.
But that being said, one of my oh wait, why don't you finish with Covenant? Are you just like, do you like all the characters? Yeah, okay, word. I was gonna say, Leah Michelle, dude, I love that girl down. I feel like people do not like her.
And they
I'm gonna be
again have
so
made the most crazy comments about her that like she can't read.
I honestly think that's somewhat comical. Like it I mean, I don't know. But I honestly feel like I would be so insufferable. A lot of people who people villainize, like, oh my god, she's so stuck up. Like she's so this, she's so that. Dude, I would be so insufferable if I was that talented. I'm being so real. I'm already insufferable now. If I could sing like Leah Michelle can sing, I would act like her too. I would be a fucking diva as well.
They said that about Rachel Zegler, and recently I saw like some piece of media that was like the only thing she did wrong was being talented, a woman, and honest. And I was like, oh wow, finally a reasonable take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's so talented too. Rachel Zegler's so talented.
Divas are villainized, all right? Justice for divas.
Justice for divas, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think we can relate to the pressure that like being ultra famous and ultra talented must be like. You know, a lot of people talk about Mariah Carey. I'm like, do we even know what it would be like to be Mariah Carey? Like, can we even judge her divaness? Like, maybe that's how she needs to like protect herself in this world.
Well, it goes back to the thing where it's like once you're in the public eye or whatever, it's like you open yourself to. It's like an unspoken rule, I guess, that like you get open to being stalked by fucking men with cameras, which is nuts.
I
Open to
hate
scrutiny,
that.
open to everything, and I obviously don't think people know what that is like until you're in it. So yeah, like I've never necessarily been like my brain wants to switch to Spanish so bad because I was speaking so much Spanish later. Like, oh, she's like insufferable or whatever because she wants her privacy or wants like the basic. Like, if somebody came up to me and started taking pictures of me and me being like, get out of my face, I don't think anybody would say that's like crazy behavior for me to ask somebody not to take pictures of me. But when a celebrity does it, like, why is that diva behavior?
Yeah, or like I don't I think Scarlett Johansson basically said she doesn't do pictures out in public because she just like doesn't want to be in this moment with you. I think is what she's. But
She
I was
said,
like, honestly, like,
yeah.
yeah, like relatable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, dude. I'm trying to think of my other spooky movies. Like, you guys know, I don't do spooky scary. Like, I don't really. I do like spooky like Twilight, and I'm gonna be. My Twilight hot take is I honestly think those movies don't get enough bad PR. Like honestly, like I feel like Stephanie Meyer made some very crazy decisions on that saga that should be more highly scrutinized. But I love anything with a vampire, you guys. And I feel like vampires get too much like bad PR because they like suck blood. But it's like, what are you gonna do? You know? Like, how are we gonna judge? Like, unless I feel like unless you're a vegetarian, I don't think you should be judging a vampire. That's my hot take. Okay,
Period. Pro
like
vampires in
vampires.
this podcast.
Everyone's like, oh my god, Damon, he's such a problem. He just like he's sucking blood everywhere. I'm like, yeah, but like, what are we doing?
The
I
only
ate
problem I
down on
really saw
him.
with that man is that he was hitting on like a high schooler. She was like, what, 16, 17? That plot line was a little janky. It was giving Predator, like real life Predator.
I'm gonna be real. I feel like that's my biggest issue with like vampire romance in general is because every vampire is like hundreds of years old,
Yeah.
and then the girls are all 16, and it's like, dude, if we're giving people shit, we're giving Leonardo DiCaprio shit, but like vampires get a free pass.
Yeah. And why are they into them like that? Because personally, when I see somebody severely younger than me, even though I feel like I have looked the same, maybe now I feel like I look a little different, but like, when you constantly see yourself in the mirror, you don't necessarily see yourself aging like that. So, but I know I'm
Mhm.
older because I see younger kids and I'm like, oh my God, they're so little and they're like 18 years old. I'm like, that's a tween. Like, that is a baby.
I cannot believe I used to be attracted to teenage boys. Now, I was a teenage girl at the time, but I still like when I see like a 18-year-old, a 19-year-old boy,
A
I'm like that looks like
scrawny, yeah, like, can't
it
do
just looks like a
it.
child to me, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I was a child who liked other, like." I don't know, I just feel like I was too young to have crushes on boys, but now I'm an adult and I'm like, "There's no motherfucking way." I was kinda joking because me and my cousin, we were passing a high school, and it was Friday night, and I made a joke, I was like, "I cannot believe that in high school we had, like, 30-year-old alumni that would, like, come to games and shit and talk to us." And I was like, "That concept is fucking wild now that I'm 30 years old."
It is wild.
Very wild. Spooky.
Spooky. I do like spooky movies. A notable mention. Not gonna go too far into it because I just think people should watch it. It's called Talk to Me. It's a 20. What is it? 24, 21 film. That one
24.
production company. They make scary movies.
Great stuff.
And I'm good with scary movies because I believe that I am less scared of like sci-fi, fictional, like kind of come back from the dead spirit world
Mhm.
concepts, I'm scared of real life concepts. Like, I stop
Yeah.
watching shows when it gets too real. Like, when I know someone is betraying somebody or something like that, that makes me feel not so good inside. And I don't want to watch it no more.
Well, I saw Sinners, which is a horror film. Sinners, I loved Sinners down. I fucking cried during that movie. I loved that movie. I'm the same way. Paranormal, vampire, zombies. I'm a huge zombie fan. But I will say there is a correlation between my anxiety and why I don't like horror films. I've been currently looking at maybe purchasing a vehicle because I'm back on the bus and it's a lot. Anyways. Yeah, anyways, so and I'm sitting looking at cars and I'm like, I feel like I might need a hybrid vehicle because in a zombie apocalypse situation, gasoline is gonna be scarce. And I like genuinely thought that. I was like, if I'm gonna need to get escape from zombies, I'm gonna need it off road. I'm like, let me get a four-wheeler. I need all-wheel drive. I need a spare tire, and I need a hybrid vehicle. And I'm literally thinking about this, and I'm like, yeah, this is why I stopped watching zombie movies. It's because I take this shit so seriously.
I can't even ride a bike. I'd be a goner. Nah. I'd hide in the woods. I'm a survivor.
Girl, you and me in this fucking bike. So tell me why. Literally. So I just went to Amsterdam. I don't know, which is the biking capital of the world, right? Everyone's like, "Did you ride a bike? Did you ride a bike?" I was like, "Didn't ride a bike there. Have never ridden a bike." And it's come up a million times recently with all my coworkers that I don't know how to ride a bike, and they're like, "Oh, you don't know how to ride a bike?" I'm like, "Nope."
You would think
Next.
somebody would like take it in their hearts to be like, I'll teach you. Like, I'll pick you up on Sunday. I'll teach you. Not one soul. You know?
Okay, my boyfriend did try to teach me, and we both got frustrated.
Here's the thing about the bike, it has to be a continuous practice. And I believe this is why you do it as a child. Because, like, you probably forget that you rode it, got it, then picked it up the next day and the next day. Then that was like your mode of transportation. When you're an
Hmm.
adult and you ride a bike one day and kind of get it, and then you don't ride a bike for a month, you don't have it. You have to start from zero again because that's just like muscle memory and balance on this apparatus.
Also, to me, I don't have a confidence to ride a bike with cars. And that's my biggest stopping point because it's like, I've thought about maybe I'll just get a bike. And I'm like, what? I'm on a bike with cars and they're going to be fucking honking at me. I don't know how to fucking ride a bike. Oh.
I love a goal. I will learn anything with like some sort of incentive. Like, I have to prepare myself for this. Let me get good at that. Or if I have like a passion for it. But learning how to drive a vehicle and ride a bike, I have never like seen that carried out because I live in New York. I know I'm not about to get a car with a car payment and insurance. Like, not doing that. And then I was like, okay, maybe a bike. But have you seen how people drive here? I have physically told a few of my friends, bike, 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 like you're about to hit a bike because you
Mm-hmm.
can't see them. So why would I put myself in danger like that?
Honestly, my biggest thing with the bike, and I know this is going to sound so like dumb too, but it's like, I feel like aesthetically with the bike, I just don't see it. I just don't see it because I'm like, where am I ever going where I don't need my laptop? You know what I'm saying? So I need my laptop. I don't want to put the laptop in the front basket and bust my fucking laptop, which has been my biggest thing now. Because anywhere where I'm like, maybe it would be nice to bike to a coffee shop. I'm like, do I want to break my $2,000 laptop because I eat shit in the road? I don't think so.
Also, these outfits, they're not giving bike, bro. Last Halloween, I was like kind of seeing this boy who rode a motorcycle. And he took me on his bike while I was wearing my Tree Friends costume. And my jacket was this like long, sort of like latex bright green jacket and I was wearing these like puffy leg warmers. Tell me why I like have this helmet on this outfit and in my mind I'm feeling real cool, but like in reality I'm looking straight up like the Wicked Witch of the West with this trench coat on.
Just yeah, talk about misunderstood, dude. We have Wicked 2 coming out. Oh, I'm so excited to see Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba in Wicked 2. The second act is really strong.
Yeah.
I'm very curious because I know they're going to change things up. So I'm curious on how it's going to be different. Another really strong spin-off with Elphaba. It's like, dude, we don't even really know the real story. She was like a defender of what was right and what was good.
Villainous behaviors in the eye of the beholder, all right?
And that's why, like, I don't know if I'm a huge Pink fan. That's why I like Galinda or Glinda. But I don't know. I don't really love that character arc of like, let me just keep let me bash my homegirl.
Yeah, she's a controversial character for me for sure. But I don't know. I see like a lot of very like Wicked's I feel like it's a great musical overall just written piece because it does kind of like entail the complexity of like friendships and navigating like envious of like homegirl Glinda doesn't have powers. You know, like she's
Mhm.
fakey pretending and she's kind of envious of this girl, loves this girl. So like her, the complex of like her emotions in this friendship, like me trying to protect you, but I don't really want to go with you because I personally don't have power. So I don't have like if I go with you, there's nothing, and my man Loki wants you.
It is a classic enemy to lovers.
Arc.
Glinda and Elphaba literally have an enemies to lover arc. There's like a little love triangle esque like vibe to it, and people are like, "Oh my god, enemies to lovers!" No, but like as far as like a literal literature
Yeah.
arc of a story, it's legitimately enemies to lovers.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this film to come out. I love me a good complex plot. In the meantime, you know, what's spooky, scary, I'll keep criticizing characters and how they're portrayed. I see like how easy it is to like villainize other women in just like your day to day. I'm thinking about this a lot just because sometimes I'm like, damn, like sometimes when people come in into like threatening situations or you see women maybe hang out with men you don't necessarily think right away they're like girls, you know what I mean? Like I've seen
Hmm.
kind of this plot line in real life and I'm like these were some of like the coolest most girls bitches ever. I've been told the same thing where I used to hang out with a lot more boys than I do now. And then one time I asked him, I was like, "Oh, like I'm for the girls," and they're like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "What makes you think that?" And he's like I don't know, you just hang out with a lot of dudes, and like your Instagram is giving like not that. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Just because I pose like a
Mm.
thirst trap or 30 doesn't mean like I'm not for the girls.
Those are for the
Those are
girls.
for me.
Yeah, I feel like I've been thinking about this. Like, have you seen with what happens with Michaela? How people are like really coming after her over her Prada haul.
Yeah.
I wonder what her net worth is, and her net worth is like $7.8 million. And I was like, I wonder what that is in relation to Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos's net worth is 252 times what Michaela is, and people are like talking about gross displays of wealth. And I was like, I feel like we need to like take all you guys and like you guys are kind of sounding like some socialist queens, and we need to vote together because where's this energy during the election cycle, of like gross displays of wealth,
Yeah.
like let's stop villainizing this one person. What she might be doing might not be great, okay? Like, do I believe that what she did is great and that she should be over consuming product? No, not necessarily, but I'm like, you know what, there's a lot of people who are way richer than her that have disgusting displays of wealth that we should be focusing our energy on.
Yeah, and I believe it's like a lot of scrutiny from people who used to relate to people and maybe can no longer relate to them, which also just like is quick to show how people will like flip on you
Yeah.
when you're doing better per se. Because I don't know. I've seen some of her content, and yes, she's displaying wealth, but I don't think everything in her life is going awesome. So I just take that as like, all right, like she is able to acquire these material things, good for her. Like shit, cool. Like, but that doesn't mean like her life is like all sprinkles and rainbows. This is kind of like the last thing, and I don't know. You know, that's why I'm like pursuit of happiness. If she's doing nothing to basically harm like anyone, she wants to buy a few hundred bags. It's her money. She's posted on that app for years. Like, okay, that's her job, you know? Like, you gave her that money.
I know, that's my thing, is that it's like It's really interesting that it's like we build people up, and then once they make it, we're, like, looking to tear people down, and I see this with, like, Alex Cooper too, where people just, like I'm like, "We were all with her up until now she's mega successful and finally, like, achieved the pinnacle of success, and now we're constantly trying to pull her down." I don't know, it's just kinda cuckoo bananas who we villainize, who we used to just idolize, and it's like you idolize them because what, they were more like you and now they're not like you, so now we get to hate them? I don't it just is a very weird disconnect.
Yeah, I get
Like, rich
it.
girls aren't girls, I feel like is the perception.
There's a lot of like, you're not a girl's girl if you're not like acting like I'm acting. Going around sometimes, you know what I mean? If I can't relate to you, you're not a girl's girl. That's not ultimately the end all be all. Like a girl's girl, if you have like communicated you don't like something and they are down to hear you out and don't do it again. Like for me, that is a girl's girl because I can't
Mhm.
like expect somebody to act a certain way without me communicating that maybe I didn't like that. And if they're willing to like take a step back and be like, I didn't know I was coming across like that, like I got you. I think I've had instances with women like that where I'm like, oh, I know this is a good friendship and relationship and partnership of friendship with a woman that I feel like she's a safe person, and I feel like that's ultimately what a girl's girl is a woman that is safe, a woman that's not gonna go and like low key tell somebody else about my business, or is like her response is rooted in misogyny, or is gonna ultimately think that my behavior is also rooted in misogyny.
When I look at people that I admire within, I won't say idolize, but admire, is I really admire when women surround themselves or like build companies with other women. I find that really cool. Like when they get like, and that's my ultimate goal in life is to at least grow to a place where I can give other badass women a great job. And so like if I look at people's companies and it's like, oh, it's only men, like then I'm like, oh, she's not really she can't can you be a girl's girl if you're a woman owned company, but your company is all men? I'm not positive. But that's how I feel.
I heard somebody tell like don't hire girls because they're like harder to work with. I have never thought that. Personally,
Mm-mm.
any other people that I've worked with women, I have genuinely really enjoyed their presence. Unless they're like truly trying to come for me and then I'm trying to come from a place of understanding, like, why are we acting this way? Why are we being mean to each other? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think it has to be this way, you know? I do find some caution signs around, I think, women that are in circles of men that don't challenge their thinking. If you have a group of guy friends, cool. Like, but if they say something problematic and instead of like challenging that, I just don't know. I think like you are who you surround yourself with ultimately. So if you're around like a group of guys that there's like some misogyny coming in and out of that group and no one's challenging each other, if you're a woman there, you're ultimately going to adapt some level of thinking.
Mhm.
I have been friends with women who are friends with just guys, and sometimes the things that they say, I'm like, you sound like them. And I'm gonna be real with you. What you're saying is like rooted in misogyny. Like you're calling a woman a whore because she what like has hit on multiple people in this group of guys. Every single one of those guys has hit on every one of your friends. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. There's like sometimes where like you have to take a step back and like think about how you are thinking about like women in certain places and where those ideals come from when you hang out with a big group of guys.
I agree, and I honestly feel like sometimes I can't relate to sometimes I can't relate when people are like, "Oh, like guy friends," because like I have a bunch of guy friends, but I feel like I don't have to consistently challenge them, but I think it's because they're mostly not misogynist. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I have a couple times said something and they're like, "Damn, let me think about that." And they actually think about it, but it happens like once in a while, not all the time. And I could really imagine I think that relating to what you said about, like, you kind of absorb what people say, I think that's what happens with media, and that's why, like, I feel a certain protection around young men who are getting exposed to negative content is because they watch this content and they might even disagree with it, but unless they are like really being critical about what they're consuming, you're right, they just absorb it, and even subconsciously adopt some really harmful ideas. So, I always have thought it's weird when people are like, "Oh yeah, I don't really like that person in my group because they fucking suck or they're racist or they're this, they're that." I don't understand why you're in community with that person. Sorry, not sorry. Because I think it is shit you absorb.
I've been in situations where like I've related to people based on like being Latinos or a certain section of my life where I identified, where I saw like, wow, there's actually not a big chance of me to impact any growth here, so I kind of have to get out. This is not part of the brand. And I think that's fair. I think you sometimes need to see where you're like at a losing battle. And the people that are going to ride with you, I feel like when I've had men in my life who I've seen some problematic things, and I know they've been like my long-term friends, is because whenever I have had a chance, like any time I've been like, hey, like that's not cool, or have you ever thought about this, they like really take the time to reflect on that and they ask about it later,
Mhm.
and then like opens a door for like, conversation. But I've also had it where people, it's the opposite. They criticize me about like being PC or stuff like that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a losing battle, like I'm not gonna win. Cool, you could go over there.
Okay, we have like a whole month of spooky content coming for you, okay, babies? So make sure
Hmm.
that you are sending this to a friend. You're rating it. You're reviewing it. You're following us on social media, okay? We're literally everywhere, baby. And you can find us at thanks the number 4 you're concerned and I'm at Ella L Tutor.
I'm at Bernice DSM.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.